Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. Modi 3.0's first budget presented on Tuesday has become a political flashpoint between the government and opposition, with the India bloc parties calling it discriminatory towards non-NDA rule states. In fact, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge claimed that the plates of all states except Bihar and Andhra Pradesh were empty in the budget allocation. He also said that, barring the states that are ruled by NDA allies, several major states have received nothing from the budget. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman was quick to respond to this criticism, and she said that this was an outrageous allegation. She said that, a deliberate attempt is being made by opposition parties led by the Congress to give people of the country a wrong impression that their states were not allocated funds or schemes. Of course, she will also present a detailed response next week. There were other opposition voices as well. TMC's Abhishek Banerjee cited politics of appeasement, while Congress leader P. Chidambaram claimed that the finance minister had dismissed the very serious issue of inflation in merely 10 words. Now, is this a sign of things to come, of how coalition politics will turn out in the coming months and years? Is it fair to call the centre biased because only 2 states ruled by its allies found explicit mention? Remember, the blueprint of the fine print of the budget actually has a lot more details. That's what we asked tonight. Let's also look at some reactions, and we'll be joined by a panel of esteemed guests.
Unemployment is the biggest challenge. The Centre for Monitoring Indian Economy has estimated all India unemployment rate in June 2024 as 9.2%. It may have come down. Now, earlier there was a production-linked incentive. When you introduce the employment-linked incentive, it must be for some reason. And I suspect the reason was that the production-linked incentive scheme did not create the kind of jobs that you wanted to create.
Just to the point that he raised, that I have not named many states and probably spoke about only 2 states. There are a few points which I have to table here with your permission, voice here with your permission, as to what happens in a speech. Congress party has been in power for a very long time in this country. They presented so many different budgets, and they would know clearly that in every budget, you don't get an opportunity to name every state of this country.
Okay, joining us now is Sri Bharat Muthukamali, who's a TDP spokesperson and also an MP. We have GVL Narasimha Rao from the BJP. We have G. Kumar Naik from the Congress party. And we also have Aarti Jairath, author and political analyst. Thank you, all of you, for joining me on this broadcast. To you, Sri Bharat, sir, clearly TDP is in some ways, Andhra Pradesh is the winner here, 15,000 crore. Today, coincidentally, your rival, your political oppositional rival, was also in the state. And today also marks an important day for Andhra Pradesh, because I believe that this also marks probably the entry of Jagan into India Alliance. But how do you see this criticism that Andhra has gotten the maximum and other states have nothing? In fact, when Khargeji says that everybody else, just 2 states have all the pakoras and jalebis and everybody else's thali is empty, how do you feel that, sir?
Hi, Vasajaji, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go on.
So I wonder whether they are not happy about Andhra being named, or whether the resources are being given, because I've heard contrasting arguments from the opposition, because some are saying that you're giving everything to Andhra, and some others are saying that why are you happy they haven't given you anything. So I think that's just noise for us. For our context, the journey that Andhra has been since the separation in the last 10 years. For 5 years, our leader was the chief minister. We lost in 19, and the economic damage that's happened to the state in the last 5 years in particular, the debt that has gone up from about 3.5 lakh crores to 13.5 lakh crores in various forms, was the primary reason for us to believe that the support of the centre and going with the NDA is essential for helping the state to revive. I think when we went to elections with the Janasena, with the BJP, with Modi ji, Mr. Pawan Kalyan ji, we made it very clear that we are currently limping and our once prosperous state is really gone off track. So we need the support of the center, and we're thankful to the central government, to the finance minister, to the prime minister for recognizing those needs and for fulfilling what they said they would do as a part of the election campaign and as a part of the AP Reorganization Act.
Right.
And we look forward to leveraging all of those things in developing the state and putting us back on track.
Right. Kumar Naik, let me ask you this question. Today, when Mallikarjun Kharge spoke, I saw the finance minister, walk in, and she was ready to respond, and she was responding. In fact, she spoke a great deal about, how the port in Vadhavan has come up, and it is in Maharashtra, 76,000 crore, even as the opposition kept saying, Maharashtra Virodhi Sarkar. A lot of other states were also mentioned, but the opposition did not really listen to her, and they walked out. Do you think there is also a problem of polarized parliament, because there is probably not an intent from the opposition side to listen to what probably the treasury benches have to say?
I feel it's a great opportunity lost for the finance minister. The party has been in power in the last 10 years, and Indian people have administered a proper response to the 10-year rule, and they have just come back to power, and this is the first budget. They could have definitely demonstrated to the people of this country they are ready to walk the talk. Unfortunately, all these words that they have been using regularly, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, cooperative federalism, none of them are apparent here in this kind of a budget that has been shown to us. The speech was 90 minutes long. It was not short at all. She could have taken another 10 to 15 minutes more, and she could have done justice to the kind of sensitivity that needed to be
Mr.
shown.
Naik, is it even possible to name all 29 states in one budget? It could be, quite an ask, isn't it?
That's true, but what is the kind of feeling that you get after listening to the speech and the kind of presentation that was made? Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas is not there. It is sirf apnon ka saath, apnon ka.
Okay, let me take that question to GVL, and also Sushmita Dev joins us from the TMC. Mr. Rao, how do you see this, sir? Of course, there is an Andhra battle. You come from that state. There is also this defense that the government has mounted with respect to talking about capex, targets remaining unchanged, and how that 11.5 crore is going to lakh crore is going to go to the entire country. Infrastructure is going to be built across. But clearly, any politically mature person would also say probably the poll-bound states could have been mentioned in the budget, isn't it?
I think it is for the finance minister and the government as to how her speech should be drawn up. I think, as she clearly mentioned, it's not possible to read out every state, and there are some budgets where no state was mentioned. In every budget in the last 10 years, if I recall correctly, the balanced development of all the states in the country, and particularly with special focus to the eastern region, was the focus of Honorable Prime Minister's strategy over the last 10-year developmental strategy. Certainly, even in this budget, the entire the eastern region, there is a plan for the development of the eastern region that was announced, which includes not just Bihar, West Bengal, it includes Jharkhand. So the name of West Bengal has been mentioned. The TMC cannot now lie and complain that our name has also not been mentioned. So similarly, I think every budget has a context. 48 lakh crore budget is not going to two states. I think it's a complete travesty. The opposition is trying to build a false narrative, trying to really hoodwink people. But really the problem for the opposition is its frustration.
Right.
Let me say, their problem is that this is a budget the government has so far functioned, and their Modi Hatao Bachao Abhiyan is not going to take shape in 5 years.
Okay.
It is this frustration which is really letting them protest against the government, against the budget.
Okay. Sushmita, one of the sharpest attacks on the budget also came from Abhishek Banerjee today, when he said that it was more fiction and not finance. But also, finance minister saying that, TMC does not have the audacity to ask for central schemes and projects because, the party and the government has been amongst the last to implement many central schemes and projects, including Ayushman Bharat. We know that the state was amongst the last to actually put in place Kisan Samman Nidhi. So clearly there is a lot of back and forth there, and this is an important week because the CM is also going to be there for the Niti Aayog meeting. How do you see this response? How do you see your party's response to the budget?
I think it is crystal clear that a government which talks about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, does not believe in it for a single second, I think. And it is a very open game. You know, there is no guessing game here. Today, where there are fake cards, NREGS cards in UP and Gujarat, they have got their funds under Mahatma Gandhi NREGS. But in Bengal, they are saying there's so many fake cards that we're not going to give it to you. 150 delegations of officers have gone to Bengal to query these things, which the West Bengal government has met those queries. And yet the funds are not released. If you are talking about delay in implementing this or delay in implementing that, tell me something. It is for anybody to see that this government has also awarded Mamata Banerjee for Digital India and many such schemes. But the fact is that the BJP government is crystal clear that by squeezing the funds of Bengal, they are hoping that a message will go to rural India and the voters of Bengal that Mamata Banerjee's governance is not good enough. But she is a mass leader. She understands politics very well and governance also very well. So she has actually not just kept complaining what Prime Minister Modi has done by depriving Bengal, but she has stepped in to supplement it or substitute it with schemes like Karmoshri, so that the kind of deprivation Modi government has done on NREGS is not felt by the people. So she's not just complaining. She's just not saying, you haven't given me this, you haven't given me that. She has protested, she's demanded the money, she's met the Prime Minister. And when the Prime Minister has failed Bengal, she stepped in to pay that money.
Right. Now, that's an important point. Aarti, how do you, and also will you respond to what Sushmita is also saying? This is an important point. How do you see the optics of this? Because there are clearly two strands in the opposition. In the Bihar assembly today, Nitish Kumar was also trying to explain to the opposition that it's not a junjunu that has been given to Bihar. There are actually significant schemes. Manoj Jha and Tejasvi Yadav have put out these tweets saying that these are existing schemes. On the other hand, there are these memes showing Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar carrying these, sacks of cash. What is the truth? Clearly, there's something in between that probably is the truth here. Do you think that the government could have handled this better, given that regional aspirations are very important, something that is also a lesson from the June 4th results?
Absolutely, Vasudha. You see, politics is all about creating perceptions, and Parliament is the main stage where these perceptions are created. Unfortunately, the government has opened itself to this charge of being under pressure and favoring two states because it chose to name these two states. Later on, Nirmala Sitharaman clarified that she's also sanctioned this huge port, port project for Maharashtra. But it is significant that she did not mention Maharashtra in her speech, because the government itself was trying to send out a political message to its allies that it is doing something for them, because they have been pressing for this, special category status, or if not special category status, then special schemes for them. So I think it was a deliberate attempt to, to kind of name these two states and not name the other states. But unfortunately, they have created a trap for themselves, because all these demands are coming now from all the other states.
Right.
That why didn't you name us? Why haven't you given us anything? And so on and so forth.
Yes.
And as you rightly pointed out, Vasudha, this election saw a surge of, regional aspirations, a surge of regional sentiments. And, the government cannot ignore this. Cannot ignore this. I mean, look at the number of regional parties that have significant presence in the Lok Sabha today. They're going on attacking the Congress, but they're not remembering that Samajwadi Party has 37 seats. DMK has some 20-something seats.
Right.
TMC has more than 20 seats. So it cannot ignore these regional aspirations, and I think, frankly, it was a poorly devised strategy to mention these two states in isolation, simply to send out a message to the allies that we are taking care of your interests, don't worry about it.
Okay, let's get an answer from Bharat on this. Clearly, you are the winner here because Mr. Naidu, Chandrababu Naidu has also come across, he's also emerged as a tough negotiator, somebody who came to Delhi, made his presence felt, and at the same time got probably a lot of what he wanted. And of course, the state is a winner there. But Bharat, there's also this dilemma that the TDP will face because, with 16 MPs, you are the most important constituent. But at the same time, if the centre is seen as sort of really favouring you a lot, it also sort of in some ways weakens the BJP, at least in terms of its optics. How do you see that? How do you look at balancing that particular aspect?
See, as far as our state is concerned, it's important that we bring our state back on its feet. So that's our priority, and we will take that as our responsibility. We've been elected on the mandate that we will revive the economy, we will bring jobs, we will bring investments. As far as the national stage is concerned, I think, as was said by speakers before me, that in budgets that have passed, I think there have been different kinds of things that have been given to different states. I'm an educator myself. I lead a university. Today, out of the 120 odd deemed universities in the country, a quarter come from Tamil Nadu. And they all came during the UPA regime.
Right.
And what did the UPA say then? So I think those things keep happening. I think as states, as was said by one member in the House today, we don't feel bad if some other state is helped. We encourage it. We want all states to be strong. We want all states to do well. And we want us to be helped also. So I can't speak about the particular circumstances of West Bengal or some other state because I don't have as much detail into that. But definitely, I think Andhra needs help. Andhra has been getting back only about 46 paise for every rupee that we give to the center in terms of tax revenue.
Right.
And we are not in a position to do that today. So I appreciate the comments that some of the members of the House, particularly in the opposition, also said that Andhra Pradesh does need help.
Right.
So we'll take all that support that we can get from all stakeholders.
Okay. Before I go to Sushmita again and also Mr. Kumar, Mr. Rao, how do you, there's this question that I asked Sushmita yesterday also on another show. There was this statement by Shubhendu Adhikari, who's also a BJP leader, who said that jo hamare saath hai, hum unke saath hain. So what is the political dissemination in the budget? Clearly this also empowers political workers to say that if you vote for us, we'll give you the best. And that clearly is not good for the country, isn't it, sir?
No, Vasudha, you see, while two states have been specifically mentioned in the budget, I think there is no reason for the people of other states to really believe they have been ignored. I think if you look at the allocation, for example, NREGS, so just now it was mentioned that we don't get enough allocations, we don't get our payments on time, but this is a statement given in Rajya Sabha, how much money has been given under NREGS. And West Bengal is certainly among the top recipients of funds under NREGS, which is one of the largest programs for the government of India, central sector program schemes. So I think there are facts and there is propaganda. And what the opposition is trying to do today is indulge in propaganda. Say that only two states have been given special attention, everybody else has been done. This is pure propaganda. I don't think it will affect us at all. And this is actually, as I said, inability of the India Alliance members to co-opt parties like the TDP and JDU onto their platform. I know for sure, for a fact, the desperate efforts were made to reach out to Mr. Naidu. In fact, Stalin was one of those people who tried to get him onto the India Alliance side.
Right.
And both Mr. Kumar and Chandrababu said no. And today, with the kind of attacks they are making on these two states, I think our allies will not even look towards them for next 5 years. They are doing a great disservice to themselves politically.
Right. Mr. Naik, today when I was in the parliament, I noticed one of your MPs from Tamil Nadu, Congress MP from Arani, making his way to the publication division because he wanted a copy of the budget. I wonder how many MPs from the opposition or even from the BJP have done this to actually understand what the budget actually has for all states, because clearly let's agree that it's not possible to mention all 29 states and union territories in the budget. So clearly, is this a lot about propaganda, as Mr. Rao was saying, or is it just politics?
A lot of fine print is still to be understood, and we need to know what would the impact on different sections of society of the new taxation proposals and new withdrawals and things like that. Apart from that, the optics is extremely poor. You must you are quite aware that the southern states have been quite sensitive to the so-called deprivation or sense of neglect that they have been feeling. We have been contributing substantially to the central exchequer, but however, we are not getting enough. That has been the motto. I mean, that has been this now feeling that is spreading in Kerala, Karnataka, Telangana, and other states. In fact, all our chief ministers had gone to Delhi to demonstrate this point. However, this could have been assuaged. This feeling could have been assuaged. Bangalore, which gives so much of revenue to the country, does not get a single mention. The Bangalore's infrastructure could be helped by central government. State government is doing its best, but it is definitely for the central government to try and expedite many of these projects which are ongoing. Apart from that, Karnataka itself has got different worlds. One is that of IT world of Bangalore. There are other places which are extremely backward and poor. The district that I represent, the Raichur district, it has got, this constituency has got two aspirational districts, Raichur and Yadgir. We need to have understood the level of backwardness which is there, and a special mention should have been made about not just Raichur, all the aspirational districts across the country, and with specific focus on education, health, and employment generation activities in these places. It is important that all these aspects are not told only just for the sake of publicity. When it comes to putting the money, this was the occasion when they could have easily demonstrated that they are with us. They are with the southern part of the country.
Right. Sushmita, I wonder what kind of help does this do to your party, this aggressive posturing and also politics against the budget of the centre, because, the elections are over, your party has proved a point, your party has actually, not just retained its seats, but also increased its tally, quite well. You've reduced the BJP to just 12 seats. So clearly, could it also be time to sort of, look for more cordial politics where you also get the kind of funds that the state deserves?
It's very simple. This entire grievance that comes from the state of Bengal is not emanating 1 month before election, and neither is going to end 1 month after election. This entire agitation, as you know, has been going on for more than a year before election. And I think the deprivation and pulling back of funds and the allegations of corruption, etc., were all geared towards BJP trying to do better in the Bengal elections. Of course, people have rejected them badly once again in Bengal. So we are not going to, you see, when you are a chief minister of a state, and my friend in TDP would agree, my friend in Congress would agree, that every chief minister will expect funds to come from the centers, because also taxes are paid by states. They have a contribution. So center collects taxes from the states, and they expect that the center will give it back to them for expenditure on development work. But when you deprive them without any justification, how can you expect us to stop talking about it? Another thing I want to say is, it is not just about, why have they named Andhra, and why have they taken the name of Bihar and not taken the name of other states. That's oversimplifying the argument. For instance, Nirmala Sitharaman ji has categorically said Bihar will get 11,500 crores, okay, for flood relief work or whatever, flood rehabilitation work. But there is no mention of the entire North Bengal, which is so badly damaged, and even Assam for that matter is just a vague reference to Assam. But the fact is that today Nirmala Sitharaman ji felt compelled to name only these two states, and the reason for that is clear. Okay. I mean, we are not naive that we expect the finance minister to name 33 states in her speech. That's not what we are saying. But the pitch is very clear that if you don't have a BJP government in your state, you're not going to be treated in the same way where there's a BJP government. And I think apart from the budget, there's a plethora. Okay. There's a plethora of examples, and that's the whole picture.
Absolutely. Last word from Aarti. How do you see this
Bangalore
playing
is
out?
neglected, though in
Specifically,
spite of-
this, who has pakoras and jalebis and whose thali is going to be empty. And also this one thing about language and symbolism, because, ever since the parliament session began, it's been so much about copy of constitutions, whose state, gets a mention, who gets missed out. Do you think the BJP, with not really having that, complete 272 numbers of its own, has to be far more careful when it comes to language and symbolism now?
I think it's a learning experience for this government, because this is the first time that they're having to navigate such choppy waters where, on the one hand, they have pressure from coalition partners, and on the other hand, a huge opposition, which is ready to pounce on them for everything they say or do. So, yes, I think that maybe, the BJP needs to tread more carefully, needs to be more careful with its words, and be a little sort of softer instead of the bull in the china shop kind of attitude that it had all these years. Because today it does not have that luxury of numbers.
That's quite a balancing act. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast on big challenges like jobs and private investment. The union budget presented on Tuesday offers, of course, a patchwork of proposals on employment, skilling, some good ideas, but handling the opposition and also aspirations of states will also in many ways define the overall response to the budget. Thank you for watching NDTV.